Aaron believed very strongly, as he said, that the scientific and cultural background that has been built over the centuries belonged to everyone. And obviously, he was willing to risk a lot to test that and to test the walls that had been put up around this content, as he called them.
Talk about how you came to be involved in this case. I mean, usually you're working for companies like Goldman Sachs, protecting them. Talk about why you were going to be the chief defense witness.
I actually knew very little about Aaron's case other than what I had read online casually until I was contacted last fall by his new attorneys that were here in San Francisco. As you said, we mostly do corporate work. Aaron was actually our first criminal defendant. And generally, this is not the kind of work that interests us or has an interesting computer security aspect. But when we were contacted by the lawyers, it did intrigue us that he was facing such serious charges for, even if you believe all the facts in the government indictment, actions that are very difficult to really qualify as computer hacking. And so we decided to join the case as expert witnesses. And as the case went on, that belief that what he did is very hard to fit into that box that they tried to fit in of criminal hacking activity, that feeling grew as we saw the evidence and went to MIT, talked to witnesses, and saw the case the government was laying out against him.
And again, what exactly was it that he did that you would say does not qualify as computer hacking? And why would you say what would be the line that you would draw on this? And also your speculation as to why the government even pursued this case, if you have a theory, why they felt so strongly that they had to pursue him.
So Aaron was accused of, as has been discussed a couple times, downloading too many files, of checking too many books out of the library. He found a loophole that was a convenient way for him to get access to a lot of the JSTOR documents. And that loophole is the fact that MIT made two interesting decisions. First, MIT decided to license the JSTOR database in a way where access was provided to the entire MIT network without asking for any kind of individual authentication. That's often not true with JSTOR databases at a lot of universities, and actually today at MIT. If you want to access JSTOR and you have that affiliation, you have to say, I'm Bob Smith, I'm a student, and the university authenticates that's who you are. And so now you have an identity with JSTOR where they can monitor what you're doing and see how many downloads you have. MIT didn't have that set up. They wanted a setup that was completely open for people just to go to the JSTOR website, be able to click on a document and read it. And that's the deal they made with JSTOR. The other decision that MIT made was that they decided to run an extremely open, unmonitored network in a method that allowed people to jump on from wireless or wired access points all over the campus and take on the identity of somebody affiliated with MIT. This is an intentional decision. They allow visitors, they allow people who just happen to be on campus this access, and they do so with very little need to authenticate or say who you are. And so those things combined, Aaron realized would allow him to go onto campus and to download articles from a variety of locations. I can't actually condone everything Aaron did. I think, as I've written online, I think what he did was perhaps discourteous or inconsiderate of taking advantage of the library privileges that he was basically granted. But at no time did he actually do any actions that I would consider hacking. What Aaron did is he went to MIT and he started downloading documents, and JSTOR at some point noticed a lot of documents were being downloaded from one address at MIT. And so they would cut off that address. Aaron would notice and then just ask the MIT network to give him a new one. That's a pretty common thing. It's something that people do, all day at university and corporate, or even like on a Starbucks Wi-Fi network. And it's that action, though, of going and requesting a new identity that the government seems to consider wire fraud or computer fraud. Probably one of the things that he did that brought it to a head was, in the end, Aaron, believe this was his motivation, wanted to find a place that he could leave his laptop for several days to continue downloading without him having to be there. And so he opened up and went into an unlocked wiring closet and plugged his computer into a switch. That MIT was calling trespassing, and that's kind of the activity that allowed them to catch him. And seems to be where they believe he massively overstepped the line. But at no time, even during that, would he do anything that I would consider hacking.